Life and faith, the two are intimately connected. For more than 2 decades, Life and Faith Television has painted pictures and told stories of faith journeys here in southwestern Ontario. Join us now as we continue the tradition. We explore the diversity in our lives of faith and the faith of our lives.
Good morning and welcome. This morning, the Life and Faith cameras are taking us to St. Paul's Cathedral in London, Ontario, where recently there was a rallying of people of all faiths to address an issue that's now taking center stage around the world, and that is the issue of poverty and the growing gap between the haves and the have-nots of our world. Through a series of featured speakers and song, we bring this social concern to our viewers. Reverend Kevin Dixon, the Dean at the Cathedral, welcomed everyone, spoke of the need for faith leaders to speak out on this subject, and introduced the first speaker, Sister Sue Wilson, the Director of the Office of Systemic Justice for the Federation of the Sisters of St. Joseph's of Canada.
In Canada and many other countries around the world, people insisted that governments implement the social and economic policies that would create a more just and compassionate society. Things like the old age pension, employment insurance, and eventually Medicare, to name just a few. It wasn't easy getting any of those policies in place, but the people, the 99%, if you will, had a growing sense that they were all in it together. Much of that has changed today. For example, too many of us see taxes as an evil, and we're blind to the way that taxes help to create the basic social goods that can be shared by all of us. Things like schools, hospitals, transportation, and the social safety nets for the hard times. Today, most politicians are afraid to use the dreaded tax word because they see it as a quick path to losing an election, and they may be right. So it's not surprising that the gap between rich and poor has reached its highest level in over 30 years. The Secretary General of the OECD, you can see some information on it up here, the Secretary General summed it up this way. He said, "The social contract is starting to unravel in many countries. Economic benefits are not trickling down, and without a comprehensive strategy for inclusive growth, inequality will continue to grow." In other words, too many people are being excluded from the benefits of the economy, and it's starting to tear at the fabric of our society. We people of faith tend to give high value to creating strong communities, and we spend a lot of our time doing just that. But community flourishes only where our institutions and our policies create a strong sense of belonging, a sense of inclusion and participation. Sadly, that's exactly what we're starting to lose in our society. At the beginning of January, the Canadian Centre for Policy Alternatives released a report showing that in 2010, the top 100 highest paid CEOs made 189 times more than the average Canadian working full-time. And this comes at a time when most Canadians have seen their wages stagnate. A report like this matters. It doesn't matter because there are 100 ridiculously rich people. That's not it. It matters because it's part of a steady trend that shows an upward redistribution of wealth. And it matters because we're talking about a very small group of people who have way too much power when it comes to shaping our policies due to their access to political parties and the media. What's happening at Electromotive can also be seen as part of a wider pattern that's contributing to the gap between rich and poor. When companies that are making record profits tell their employees that they must take cuts of more than 50%, there's nowhere to go but down. Surely it's the role of our faith communities to take up the challenge of speaking strongly about the moral character of these economic and political choices. Let's be clear in stating that the dignity of the person demands social and economic structures of justice. I'm talking about labor markets that provide a living wage to workers, meaningful jobs with decent working conditions and benefits, social assistance programs that support and retrain workers when they can't find a good job, and disability pensions that protect the social and economic rights of people when they're unable to work. Let's remind each other that the economy is meant to serve the community, that it should be a vehicle of solidarity, not a runaway engine that pulls our community apart at the seams. It should be restrained by the values of equity, sufficiency, sustainability, not let loose to harm whoever or whatever stands in its way. As Kevin mentioned, one small but very practical way that we can make a difference right now is to give input into the social assistance review process. The Ontario government formed this small committee to look at how social assistance is functioning and to suggest changes. This committee is recommending changes, but there's also the need for citizen input. The power to create change, just like they found after the 2 world wars and the Great Depression, the power to create change is found in our collective voices, in our choosing to live the value of solidarity. Together, we can insist that our governments make different choices, that they make moral choices. So let's make a difference by trusting in the mystery of shared power, a power that emerges from cherishing our connections to each other. And let's join with each other to create the kind of change that can benefit everyone. Thank you.
17-year-old Brooke Harrison shares her concerns and tells us of several projects that she and her family and friends have worked on over the years and continue to work on to help those in need, especially children, ill children, and the youth. From her, we learn that indeed no one is too young and no task is too small.
When I was 6 years old, my then 5-year-old cousin Juliana was diagnosed with leukemia, and I had no idea what cancer was, but quite frankly, she just was not getting better quick enough for my likings. And I came to the only logical conclusion in my mind, and that was that the doctors were clearly not doing their job. And I was convinced that if I made money, I could pay the doctors under the table, make them work harder, and Juliana would be cured. And so I set out to do that. And so I asked my friends and family for their favorite recipes because I was going to make a charity cookbook. And at the age of 8, Cookin' in Brooke's Kitchen was published. And due to the amazing success and all the amazing people that I met, at the age of 11, Cookin' in Brooke's Kitchen 2 was published. And in conjunction with both books, I've been able to raise over $60,000 for childhood leukemia research. But the most important and the best fact that I came out of that with, and what I'm most proud of, is that my cousin Juliana is now cancer-free. So I rallied my friends together, and we created the Philip Aziz Center's first ever Youth Advisory Council. And what we have done to date is 3 charity Christmas drives, and we're currently in the midst of planning our 5th annual charity golf tournament. And in conjunction with the 4 previous golf tournaments that we have done, we've been able to raise just shy of $110,000.
Listen and be enlightened to spoken word poet Franklin Davis as he tells us to wake up, to take back our kingdom and show by our actions that there is hope for tomorrow.
So what I'm here to do today is to get everyone to just wake up. Wake up. Wake up. Open your eyes. Look around you. See that the world that you're living in is the matrix. It's nothing more than a reasonable facsimile. It's a candy-coated topping made to cover up the truth. And the truth is, well, the truth is that the kingdom is all around us. But see, we've all just been fooled by some sleight of hand pulled directly out of the deceiver's bag of tricks, made to change your salvation from the present to the past tense. It's nothing but a cleverly designed but not so lucid dream made to rob you of your kingdom inheritance. Wake up. Wake up and see that the youth of today is not the lost generation. It's just the rest of us need to change the way that we see. Exploiting the minds of our youth was always the devil's cruel intention. But did I mention that we, in the spirit, could flip the script and look past the flesh to see them for what they could someday be? Wake up, because the world is yours. All you need to do is believe. Now is your time. This is your chance, because by the blood of the Lamb you've been given your reprieve, and as sure as the beating of this heart in my chest, I know that each and every one of you will one day soon achieve greatness. So now you know the future is brighter than it seems. You are the hope of tomorrow, so don't give up on your dreams. But if you still don't understand what it is that I'm trying to tell you, if you still just don't quite get it, then wake up. Turn inward. Take a look in your mental mirror and tell me what it is that you see. Wake up. I know there's a lot of things going on out there right now. And a lot of people are feeling hopeless. And if you do have an attitude of optimism, people look at you like you're crazy or it's unwise. But those of you with ears to hear, listen. Because God makes a mockery out of the wisdom of the wisest mortal man. So gone are the days of understanding. Now is the time to overstand. Stand over top of all of your troubles, because you've been bought and paid for by the Son of Man to be seated in heavenly places. That was always the Father's plan, so wake up. Wake up and know that in Him you have greatness inside you. Maintain a divine focus and let nothing misguide you. I mean, you really have to know that you know that you know. So that even when you're dreaming, I'm talking about even when you're dreaming or in your nightmares, and you're confronted by an evil guy and he steps to you, mean mugging, trying to cut you that evil eye, fear not. Just lift both hands straight up to the sky and give thanks and praise unto the Most High, and then wake up.